story I'm going to tell you about was inspired by the life of Henry Thoreau, who was a great thinker and writer that lived in America over 150 years ago. Once, Henry went to jail for a night for not paying his taxes. He said that he refused to pay taxes to a state which allowed people to be slaves, in his own words, to be sold as cattle. Henry's writings inspired many people. Mahatma Gandhi used Henry's ideas to free his people in India from British occupation. In America, Martin Luther King Jr., inspired by Henry Thoreau, worked on getting the government to treat all people equally. Wonderful things, wonderful ideas can inspire other people. They are like mountains. Henry Climbs a Mountain is a book written by D.B. Johnson. In this book, the Henry is a bear. Henry wanted to climb a mountain, but he only had one shoe. His other shoe was at the shoemaker's getting fixed. On his way to the shoemaker's shop, Henry was stopped by Sam, the tax collector. He refused to pay his taxes, so he was put into prison. That night, Henry imagined that he was climbing a tall mountain. He hadn't slept all night, and the sun was coming up in his jail. Just then the door opened. The prison officer said, "Someone has paid your taxes." What does it feel like to be free? And Henry said, "It feels like being on the top of a very tall mountain." Archbishop Desmond Tutu is often quoted for saying, "Do your little bit of good wherever you are. It's those little bits of good that, when put together, overwhelm the world." Just as Henry Thoreau's ideas influenced many people, so can the good things that you or I do influence others. I've spoken to you about Mim, who went to Sydney to learn about how people in the inner west were helping one another. Their stories inspired her to start a place in Newcastle called the Commons. The Commons is a welcoming place where people can go to do many things. Some of them are borrow books, sit and feel safe, dance, watch movies, learn to cook or learn to make cheese, or just drink coffee and tea with friends. Some people go to meditate, others to learn about spiritual things, some to listen to speakers, others to go to listen to live bands, and some to buy fair trade organic produce at a low cost. Just as she has been inspired, Mim also inspires others to get involved and to pass on the good that they have experienced. Who has influenced you to do good things? And what are some of the good things that you might do to influence others? It's like putting a drop of colour in the water of a glass. At first, you don't see much difference. But the more drops that are in the water, the more the water begins to change. Look at that. Drop by drop, the water changes. It doesn't matter how old you are, those little bits of good, when put together, can make a huge difference to our world.